Hey, it's Drybear. You guys know I have your back when it comes to Diablo 4, and today is no different. I just finished my full Renown grind on my character, and if I were to do it all again, I actually have a much faster route that's highly efficient for finishing the full Renown grind. So that's what I'm gonna share with you today, including some tips and changes that are a little out of order, but are actually game-changing once you realize why. But first, you should come hang out with me on my live stream. I'm live every single day on twitch.tv/Drybear. If you don't come hang out with me in the community, the next time you leave your house for work, as you get 5 minutes away, you're gonna wonder whether or not you closed and locked the door, but you're at that point where you may not go back and you wonder if it's just your anxiety that's causing you to think that. Okay, so let's talk Renown and how to efficiently do it. We don't know whether or not we're gonna have to do full Renown or partial Renown when the seasons launch. We don't have a confirmation on that. It is very possible, worst case scenario, that you will have to go through and do all the Renown again in game every time a season starts. That would be the worst case scenario. Hopefully not, but that is the case. So the question is, now that I've finished it, and I've done it many times, either prior to launch and after launch, how would I do this to do this the fastest and the easiest? And for me, this would be my Renown speedrun steps. So let's go through it and then I'll explain why this is such a huge difference in doing it while leveling or even trying to finish it once you hit level 50. So what I would do is I would go World Tier 1 and rush to level 45, focusing only on leveling, picking up statues of Lilith if they're on the way, exploring areas if they're on the way, doing dungeons if they're efficient for leveling or it's convenient for me to do so, or there's a side quest that's kind of on the way, but not really going out of my way to do any Renown progress. At level 45, with a complete build, finish the capstone dungeon, unlock and start World Tier 3. So we skip from World Tier 1 straight to World Tier 3. Then at the start of World Tier 3, I would make sure that I had the first 3 rewards of all zones, which you should be able to get easily while just leveling. Just running around, exploring, grabbing a couple statues, doing a couple things, you should be very easily able to get the first 3. And that just gives you the 2 skill points per zone, and that's plenty in order to finish your build and get things going. And then once you have that, before you start the progress to get the max obols, and more importantly, the maximum Renown points, or the Paragon points you get at the end of Renown, just put a hold on that completely and ignore it for now. The next step would be complete Helltide on World Tier 3, World Bosses, 1 of each week, and Nightmare Dungeons until 65 or 70, depending on when you want to do it. But that way you're leveling your glyphs up, you're getting good gear progress, you're making your character stronger, rather than making your character weaker and making the world stronger. Because remember, as you level, your efficacy in combat is related to your level. So if you are speed running to level 100, your character is not getting any stronger, but the world is getting stronger. Your damage to the target is going down, their damage to you is going up. And so if you speed run to level 100 without doing the other content and making your character stronger, it's gonna feel really bad. So this is something I wouldn't recommend doing. I actually would just do your end game content until you hit 100. You'll have a much better experience. Your character will be far stronger, and it'll be much easier to clear the things along the way. At level 65 or 70, do the capstone dungeon, unlock and start World Tier 4. Enter into World Tier 4, keep getting ancestrals, upgrading gear, getting stronger, leveling glyphs, focus primarily on Nightmare Dungeons, and then at around level 75 to 80, switch back to World Tier 1, and then complete the rest of the Renown. The reason I like doing this and why I was able to complete all of my Renown in a single evening is because not only does World Tier 1 stop at level 50, none of the mobs in World Tier 1 can scale past level 50. On top of that, there is a grace period, a grace amount of damage that you can take before a mob can interrupt you when you're doing an objective. So that means when you're grabbing some pedestal piece, a bloodstone, when you're activating a lever, when you're opening a door, when you're collecting some kind of objective, when you're going to a statue, when you're trying to teleport to town or open a portal to go to a waypoint. All of these activities have a buffer of amount of damage that you can take before they get interrupted. If you do all of your Renown on World Tier 1, even though you're in your 70s or 80s, it is almost impossible for the mobs to interrupt you while you're doing objectives. So you ask, Drybear, what do you mean by this? Why is this so important? Well, you can go to World Tier 1. Right now on my 85 Necro, and they're dying to thorns on accident. But as you're being hit, you can do objectives like activate a town portal, which means they can't stop me from portaling. They don't do enough damage. They don't hit me often enough. They're not strong enough to stop me from doing any kind of channeled activity that I'm trying to do. Which means that in a dungeon, when you go to those parts of the dungeons that have, say you get locked into a room where a fog gate spawns on both sides, and there's 2 levers that you have to activate to get the door to open. You can actually just open both the levers. You don't even have to kill the mobs. You can have the entire room wailing on you while you're opening the levers. They can't interrupt you. You just keep going through the dungeon. You run all the way to the end. You find the animus carriers. You kill them in one shot. You collect the animus. You go to the end of the dungeon. You're doing Lilith statues. You go to the Lilith statue. You collect the Lilith statue. Then you just start a portal and none of the mobs hitting you can stop you. You are completely uninterruptible. You can just go about your business collecting the renown. And because you're so strong compared to the world tier that you're on, you can just breeze right through all of the activities, all the side quests, all the extra bits that you need in order to get your renown done. I have completed all the dungeons in the game. I now have a full codex completed, 100% on my codex of power here. I have all the dungeons done. I did it super fast. So it's very, very easy to do that. And then you can get all your renown done super fast. So my ordering would not be to do renown while leveling or to do renown as soon as you hit 50. I would actually just ignore renown after getting your skill points. Go all the way until World Tier 4, get stronger. You're not going to, I mean, 20 Paragon points isn't going to be the end of the world. And then you can literally do all of your renown in a matter of hours without any fuss, without any interruptions. You can just blow right through it and it's way easier. So if you ask me if I would do it again, if I have to do it again for seasons, how would I do it? This is the order that I would do it in. If you enjoyed yourself today, leave a like down below. You can support me and my work on Patreon and view Patreon exclusive content, link in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.